Melanie Safka, Lay Down, Candles in the Rain. This one is for the big homie Middle Earth. This is an Imperishable Streams.
The Imperishable Flames, dear listener.
Right, stream. So this is what Middle has to say. Lay Down, Candles in the Rain was written by Melanie Safka. The performance is credited as Melanie with the Edwin Hawkins Singers, a famous religious gospel choir known for their famous and now legendary 1969 hit, Oh Happy Day. This was a hugely inspirational single in 1970 from Melanie's third album, Candles in the Rain. She wrote the song after performing at the Woodstock Festival in August of 1969, inspired by the strong unity and positivity displayed there in massive numbers despite the pouring rain. All right, let's check it out. The name of the song is Lay Down.
None of them got to see your terrible thing.
I mean, it was meant to be. Now I'm like, okay, let me just read.
Good. This way you don't shame our family. Okay? Aww. You don't disgrace us. All right, song number 1, Melanie Safka, Lay Down. Here we go.
You should be glad about that, Archero.
What, that he didn't hear the... Sounds Native American, right?
Yeah.
Or indigenous?
Earthy.
Little sisters of the sun, lit candles in the rain, fed the world on oats and raisins, candles in the rain, lit the fire to the soul who never knew its friend. Maya Baba lives again, candles in the rain. To be there was to remember, so lay it down again. Oh, lay it down, lay it down. Lay it down again. Men can live as brothers. Candles in the rain.
Yeah, it was the part where it said we were so close there was no room, we bled inside each other's wounds. Sound?
Yep. Go ahead.
Somebody just said sound.
Don't worry, go.
Okay.
It's okay.
Lay down. So yeah, that part really kind of stuck out to me because I think that in relationships, are we talking I read that as a relationship thing. And
oh, you did?
Believe it or not.
Okay.
And I think that I've heard people say it before, and I do think that it is true, that when people, sometimes you can be so close with somebody, you don't realize how toxic you're being. And when that line got said, we bled inside each other's wounds, we were so close, it kind of goes both ways. So like I see it in an instance of like where you're so close to each other that you're bleeding. There's nothing you can do about your bleeding because you're bleeding. That was like one thing that always like annoyed me. Like anytime I cut myself, it annoys me. Just bleeding and just such an annoying concept because it impedes you from doing what you're trying to do. Like usually I end up cutting my hand and I'm trying to cook and I'm like, Dad, come on. Now I gotta glove up and bandage up and anyway, but so I kind of got both vibes, right? Like one is like you're so close to each other vicinity wise, but also like both of you are opening up to each other. There's no room, and it could be like no room for anybody else or no room for anything else because it's just the two of you, but we bleed inside each other's wounds. Could be we all had caught the same disease and we all sing the same. Well, that's a little different. I just heard that line and kind of thought I thought about it, but now that kind of looks a little bit different. We all caught the same disease and we all have the songs of peace. So do you think that this is talking about, oh yeah, because they said this was after the Woodstock thing.
Yeah.
Right. So this was talking about that event and where everybody was like super close to each other, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all caught the same disease. Which disease are we talking about?
I mean, it could be a metaphorical, like the love of music. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because it all happened at the same time. Mm-hmm. I doubt it's literal. But, people like if you act one time, you get in front of the camera one time, they say you have the bug. Mm-hmm. You ever heard people say that? My brother's people said that, like, because they were actors and stuff. And it's like you caught the bug because, like, you become obsessed with it. You can't, Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to me with Korn.
It's like baby fever.
When Korn showed up,
or
like
jungle fever.
When Korn showed up, like, I was like, yo, like, I became obsessed with the music. Like,
yeah.
And like, it's been like that ever since then, Mm-hmm. So that's how I interpret it, because I was like reading my experience of Woodstock into the situation. And so, yeah, like, definitely caught the same disease. So it was a peace concert at Woodstock.
Oh, there was a peace concert. Okay.
Yeah. I think that was like the original intention. It was like, we're all going to get together and sing music. We're not doing none of this war shit with you people. What, Vietnam ended in 74, I think?
When it said lay it down, lay it all down, you think that could have been like your arms, your fights, your all that stuff because they were just coming for peace? Let your white birds smile up at the ones who stand and frown. What did that mean?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Noah's Ark reference. Because he sent the dove out there.
Generally speaking, well, I was thinking like, like the Holy Spirit, yeah, like that. But there's like, when people think of like peace, even at Christmas time, you see like a white dove meaning like peace.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe you're right. Let your white bird smile at the ones who stand and frown. And the people standing and frowning are who? Anybody judging them or the man,
the people that are fomenting these wars and all this stuff. It's, the same cast of characters, I think. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I took this as more of a communal relationship than
I agree.
Person relation. We bled into each other's wounds and would not be toxic necessarily.
No.
It would be...
We're all hurting and we came together and we were so close. Like, we all understood each other's pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
White birds were a smile with teeth. That makes a lot of sense. So, and this is coming straight from the source.
That's funny.
Let your white bird smile up at the ones who stand and frown. Well, it's one of those things where people say things like, there's a school of thought that says your emotions are a choice. And I don't know how much I agree or disagree with that. because I do think that there are certain okay, so somebody smacks you in your face, like automatically you're angry. Mm-hmm. Like let's say that puts you at like a 5. Mm-hmm. I can choose whether I can go, okay, now I'm at 5. I don't think I can choose 5. Mm-hmm. What I do believe I could choose though is to go down to 4 or 6. Mm-hmm. I do believe we have control over that, and that's always been the area where I've had problems.
I think that you steer the cart once it's already. It's like Donkey Kong. Remember that cart one? Mm-hmm. You'd go on the tracks and you could like jump it to another track.
Yeah.
I feel like that we have like initially, like our initial reaction just like happens. But then we steer it. We either steer it toward peaceful, whatever, or we steer it toward the rage. And I think that whatever we do with the steering on this situation that we're reacting to sets it up for the reaction the next time. So, I mean,
that's a good point.
I've noticed, I've been trying to work on being a person of peace ever since that you said we were doing a gentle answer turns away wrath, which was over a year ago.
Yeah. That was a theme for last year.
Yeah, it's been like a long in that regard, and there's like times where I've had to be like, I'll be honest with you, one of the things that's really helped is praying, because sometimes like I have so much to say, and I'm like, I know if I say this, like this whole situation is gonna pop off bigger than it already is right now, but I need to say it, and bottling it up actually increased my rage for the next time, because I was like, oh, I didn't say anything about this person. You ended up getting a lot of my anger. Like, I think sometimes we'll be in a fight or whatever, and like everything, more so probably at the beginning of our relationship. I think less so like at this point. But like all the other stuff that I didn't say or didn't whatever, I think would come out into those moments. Which
yeah.
Sorry for that. That's, shitty, but.
It is what it is.
But I think that, so that's what I've started doing. Like, if I'm like, this is one of those situations where a gentle answer turns away wrath, it's better not to get whatever kinetic. I go and I tell God, like, internally, I'm like, this is really pissing me off, blah, 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 blah. And I go through so I'm still releasing it. And that's been that's been a game changer for me, for sure. That's
been one of the, things, like, handling these situations. Like, I'm looking at Archero talking about stoicism, and I think there's a lot, stoicism's mentioned in the scripture. I think there's a lot of overlap between stoic ideology and theology in the Bible. But the idea, again, like, you cannot control what other people do, mm-hmm. but they're saying, like, smile at the people who are frowning. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to match people's energy. Mm-hmm. And that's a thing that's like difficult depending on where you come from, because like where I'm from, like, you not only do you have to match their energy, you have to supersede it mm-hmm. as a survival mechanism. And and to be honest with you, I don't know, I feel like that served me well over there, but it doesn't serve you well in relationships. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you train yourself like on that warrior, okay, you're like, then everything is a war now. You know what I'm saying? And everything becomes like this big test or whatever. And these people, unfortunately, they were extremely aware of warfare and all the things that make for war and the things that make for peace, because it was going to be them. They were the ones getting drafted.
Yeah.
Their parents weren't getting drafted. Mm-hmm. They were getting drafted. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like now, like, people are worried about another draft because all this stuff happening with the selective services and the fact that it looks like we're itching closer and closer to World War III. And so, like, that's back in people's consciousness relative to, mm-hmm. I saw that on one of his feminist themes.
Yeah.
it was like 2020, and like, it's this feminist with this, this pantsuit on, the business suit. And then it says 2026 after the draft, and Shorty's in the kitchen with an apron on. She ain't trying to go fight. Oh shit. Man, like, what? Go ahead.
No, I mean, I get it. It's just like, I feel like that the feminine side of me like should fight against that meme, but it's true.
The
it's
feminist
like that other
side
one.
of you, or the feminine side of you? Well, the feminine side of you is like, hell no, I'm not gonna go shoot nobody.
100%.
That's not
There's
feminine.
Also, did you see that? Yeah, actually, I showed it to you. The girl was like, I just want to tell the girls who fought for us to work outside of the home. Fuck up.
Who said that?
This girl, because she's in her car and you can tell she's like on a lunch break or something, and she just would rather be home cooking a meal. I'll be barefoot, whatever.
Yeah, for her family.
Yeah, like I'd rather cook a meal, than have to be at work working for the man.
Yeah. You're still working for the man, shorty. Whether you work for the man in the house or at the corporate America, you're still working for the man. I hate to tell you. Yeah,
but there's one man here. But over there's a whole bunch of them. You don't know how many are up in that group.
A whole list of them. A whole list of them bad boys out there.
Some places even, like, I don't know, they dehumanize you to the point where you have to ask to use the bathroom. Like, no!
Y'all wilding out.
You guys are crazy.
Y'all wilding out.
Yeah.
Raise the candles high, because if you don't, we could stay back against the night. We could say black against the night. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to point out. I like the, that sort of, that's that phrase that says, like, the only way that basically bad men can succeed is that good men stand by and do nothing.
Yeah.
And so they're not saying, like, let's just run away from all this. They're like, they were trying to spread a message of peace. I don't know their entire movement, like the ins and outs of it and stuff, but I did understand that they didn't want war. And at the time, like, you kind of can, depending on where you were, you could look sideways at these people like, oh, these people aren't going to support our country. But then, like, on this side of it, you're like, what was all these things we were fighting for? You know what I mean? Like,
9/11 was perfect for war people, because, like, somebody did something to us directly. You know what I'm saying? And so it was perfect for those people, because they knew they couldn't get us into another Vietnam. We weren't going for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. And just the power of music. Like, I think it was 275 talked about. Did you see the party that happened in LA for on Juneteenth? Specifically talking about Kendrick. It's like 80,000 people saying A minor. But it was beautiful because, and I know there's not an understanding of this, but you had gang sets, you had neighborhood Crips, you had Bloods, you had Pyru. They were all on the stage dancing. Black folk hugging, loving each other. Dudes that killed each other, like, on stage dancing together. And it just, like, the power of music.
Yeah.
To see right there, Crips and Bloods holding hands dancing. Like, there's folks that I don't even, like, there's folks I beef with from back in the day that I don't know. Like, if I could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hurt my friends. You know what I'm saying? And they'd be like, well, you hurt our friends. Like, whoa, like. But it's crazy but you got the music, the music gets in there, and, like, there's, the artist is trying, see, that was one of the things about, like, this time period of music, like the Vietnam era, and it may just be the songs that people selected because they're classical songs or whatever, but it just seemed to me that during that time period, like, all the artists were trying to say something. And some of them did better than others, obviously. But it seemed like everybody was trying to say something or trying to hit some angle around why are we doing this, that type of thing. World War I, especially World War II, terrible, but it's a war you can be proud of. Okay, like Hitler, blah, blah, blah. I don't know all the ins and outs and the exact numbers. I don't think anybody does. But there was enough, that guy was enough of a villain to justify,
getting involved,
putting all those bodies in the ground, But Vietnam is like, okay, so they're communist. Okay, they have a different socioeconomic policy than us. Let's kill them. Like, for what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you have musicians, I mean, I just, that's the thing. Like, if you want to psychologically influence a group of people in a very short period of time, but on a massive scale, music is it. Revo in this bitch.
Hey!
Music is it. You know? And I remember I used to swear up and down, because they'd always say, the parents would always say, like, oh, these kids are listening to gangbanger music, now they're out there shooting. Or, oh, they're listening to metal, so now they're out there worshiping the devil. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, whatever. And to a degree it is, because, like, if you're a parent, like, you should be your child's number one role model. And if you're not your child's number one role model, you should at least know who their role model is. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, that kind of element is kind of, like, missing today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like with these kids and parents are kind of like siloed away from each other. They don't really know each other. We always talk about the generation gap, but I don't think the gap is that large. I just think it's parents not investing the time, which is easy for us to do because you have a stay-at-home job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas you got people out here that are grinding, probably doing 2 jobs, you know, because of the current situation we're in. So it's easy to say, oh, I'm my kid's hero as a parent, blah, blah, blah. Like,
and our kids are like weird, man. They always want to talk with us. Like I wanted to talk with my parents some, but not like to the degree that our kids do.
I know.
Like,
but would
I mean,
your parents
like,
talk about the things that we're willing to talk to with the kids? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one part of it,
right.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lay it all down, lay your white birds up and smile at those who stand and frown. So raise the candles high, because if you don't, we could stay black against the night.
Mm-hmm.
See that right there?
Mm-hmm.
We could stay black against the night. It's saying like something about us is dark.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be refuted with some sort of source of light,
right.
which is external. So the darkness is internal, and the light is external. Because it says, raise the candle. Candle's outside of you.
Yep.
So somehow there's something that ignites some sort of little speck of light. And think about it. A candle is like what? The flame is like this big, over and against. He's saying, or she's saying, you know, we could stay black against it. So you're like, just imagine your whole body is black and dark, and you're indiscernible from the night. And then there's this little flame that is not, let's say, you know, 4% your size, that can change everything, that can illuminate everything. And then once you see that illumination, then you can start seeing like, oh no, this is darkness and this is my friend. Those are not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And then when you put the light on, your friend goes, holy shit, that's darkness and that's my friend. Not the same thing. And so I think that that's a really crazy concept if you really think about it, because that's a lot of our sociopolitical disputes are, this is darkness over here, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's no light being shown. It's just a more recounting of darkness. And so you got dark people in the dark running into each other, harming each other because they can't see anything. And so whenever that happens, they're blaming the other guy and the other guy's blaming the other guy. We just keep blaming each other. But if you put the light on, things become a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons, like, the design is you should be married before you have children. So that there's nothing that accentuates your darkness more than committing yourself to another person and then being unable to love them the way you should. Like, this is your favorite person in the world, and this is the best that you could do. You're really very selfish. So now when you have kids, you're like, man, I already know I'm starting off with the selfish behavior. And if you thought you were selfish because you couldn't love this woman perfectly, wait till you have a child who's the relationship is completely one way, and it's supposed to be. And you start to learn, like, okay, I got some more inner darkness here, that and then you can look at those problems and those incidents as, you know, walking around in the dark, or you can make that problem the candle that illuminates a situation. So if you interpret a fight, you interpret a conflict, you could interpret it as, oh, look at this darkness. My kid is, you know, he's making the world dark. You could interpret it that way. Or you could say, this confrontation is actually the light that we needed to see. And look, man, candles are dangerous, right? Little flame, if you don't handle that light properly, you can burn down the whole damn house. So, you know, it takes a seasoned person.
Ooh, or if you hold it too much.
Yeah.
On the situation, it burns.
Yeah, it takes a seasoned person to know the difference between know the difference. Hank Hanegraaff used to say, understand the difference between heat and light. Those aren't the same thing. So, no, Sammy, we haven't played any Black Sabbath yet. Good to meet you. Yeah, so that's a very really good song.
I also liked the vocal style was odd. It was. And you guys know how I feel about odd vocal styles. I vibe with them. I like it when because obviously everybody can appreciate perfection. But when something doesn't sound perfect, then you kind of like hear like intention behind it that you wouldn't otherwise hear, because you're like, okay, this person is making this sound, but I'm not even sure like if it really sounds that good, or if it's like, but they had to communicate what they're singing about and whatever through that noise, and it didn't go perfectly, but it I don't know, it just hit something different for me.
I can see that.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I feel like you would have had the most fun in this era. What do you think? No? Yes?
I agree. I also think that I think that it's tough because there was so much rules growing up, and like this era and these like people, they kind of like threw those off and they were like, these are not important. And I do
so you think they OD'd a little bit though?
I do. I think that they OD'd a little bit, and I just think that how my father would say, give you an inch, take a mile. And you've kind of experienced that from me as well.
And you've experienced that from me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like I don't know how I would have done with like, let's just throw off all restraints. Like, I don't know if I would have, how long I'd have been alive. Really? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I could just see.
Am I there? In this little fantasy?
Okay. Because if you're there, I feel like you'd reel it in.
If you're there, yeah, hell yeah. Ain't no free love over here, nigga. What you want? I got some free bullets. I'll give it to you for free. I'll send you home with them. You see what I'm saying? For free.
See? Look at that. And moving right along.
I'm moving right along.
So yeah, I liked it. I'm giving this one a 9.4.
So the Forrest Gump thing, he's like,
9.6.
I'd like you to come home back to Greenbow, Alabama, he says. Because the guy is a Black Panther. He's like, yo, Shorty's from Alabama, okay? All right. Yes, we noted that. Definitely, we see you, Revo. That song is going to be played for sure. Middle, do you still want that song to be last, or do you want us to put it somewhere?
He's got it on the list. We know when he's coming.
Gotcha. Okay, what do you think about this song?
I gave it a 9. I kind of bounced around a little bit. I'm going with a 9.4. 9.5. 9.5. Every time you ask me, it changes. What are you giving it?
Got perfect. That's what I wanted to know. I want to give this one a solid 9.1. I like the song. Little bit repetitive, but I really like the message. Because anytime I hear these 60s songs, I'm always like, yo, putting myself in that situation, like Vietnam, like either I'm going to Vietnam or I'm coming back from Vietnam, or I'm like, the other thing though is like, it was literally a lottery. Like, you turn on the TV, yo, Middle, help me out with this. You just sitting there eating dinner and shit, and then boom, like the ball drops, and it's like, okay, everybody with this and this number, like you report to whoever, selected services, and then they ship you off to not, like, yo, that's a crazy way to live, man. Like, if you're not,
that is an insane way to treat other people's children.
Yeah, like if you're not, like you know, like if you're not like about that life, and then they throw you into a jungle and make you kill other human beings, man, that shit is terrible.
That's awful.
I mean, it's horrible enough for people that for kids that think they want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the bad lottery. That's crazy, bro. Like, that's insane. His dad barely missed. Night Ranger's dad barely missed Vietnam. Yeah, man, that shit was. My stepfather, he also barely missed Vietnam, and he would have died for show. So then, you know, I went and had my little brother. But yeah, man, like that's just a crazy time period, man. Like, to know that you could turn on the TV and your entire life could change, like, because man, for what? I remember being in the hospital with one of these dudes. He was a veteran, you know, and he ended up in the hospital because all his friends died around him.
Jeez.
And he never recovered from that. And then there was this other dude that was in Vietnam, and we were in group one day, and he said basically, all my friends died for nothing. And then the other dude was like, yo, we can't say they died for nothing, because all his friends died around him. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what'd they die for? He said, what would have happened if we would have never went to Vietnam? Would we still look like we look now? And that was like the first, you could tell it was the first time dude had thought about it. And then the guy running the thing was the ex-Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And like, so I'm like, this is this horrible existential crisis that this guy now, like, why? I'm like, why would you say that to him? You know? And then dude was like, have you ever been to war? And I said, no. He said, shut the fuck up. And I was like, all right, cool. But like, why would you say that to him? You know? And then they had to work it. It was crazy. It was like, to this day, I don't know if that guy that was running the therapy thing was really all that good for us, man. Because he was just, You know, like, that's just a crazy, like, I cannot imagine that. I can't imagine being a parent and knowing that your kid's number could get called.
Jesus, no, I can't either.
So like that whole period must have, we don't even probably know how traumatic that period really was, because every day or every week or every month or something, your kid could get called into some horrible war and you never see him again. Like, what? Or they come back and they've killed people. Like, you didn't raise your kid to kill anybody. Like, that's just crazy.
And there's certain things that kind of like bifurcate society. So remember, like, when we had the mask thing, and then like the people wearing the mask, where they were against the people that weren't wearing it, and it sort of like caused this division between us. Yeah. And I think this would be another one of those situations.
Sort of. Dudes were getting busy out there in the store.
I think this would be another one of those situations, because if you're like, your kid is not old enough to get drafted, then you're like, I'm so glad I'm not those people. My kids are over here, you know, and as your kids are getting older and they're getting into that group, and then there are other people that are like, I'm so glad I'm not you guys. But if all of us collectively would have responded to that situation, you know, voting and all those different ways wise, for all of us to react as though it was our kid that got drafted, then maybe things would have been different. You see what I'm saying? And
I mean, I guess, you know, that's why, like, people are like, oh, Trump dodged Vietnam. Like, I don't care. I'm glad.
Yeah, but I think the issue
everybody
is
should
that
have dodged Vietnam.
Not everybody was able to dodge it. Like,
yeah, I know, but like the media is making it sound like it's like these guys were out there like itching to go to Vietnam. Nobody wanted to go to Vietnam, so he used his privilege to do it. Good for him. I don't care. I don't care about that shit at all. The real problem is, why was there a draft to dodge in the first place? You know, our government got a lot more intelligent, because the GWAT is completely volunteer. You had people lying. You had blocks in New York City, gangbangers, all type of shit, wrapped around for not miles, but pretty significant, signing up like ready to go, because like everybody took that shit personal. So I'm not, you know, fill in the blanks. Do what you will with that. I was watching an interview with dude was a sniper in GWAT, and he said. The host was like, what do you think about, you know, what we had to engage in? And the dude was like, oh, it was all lies. The whole thing was a lie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a crazy thing to put yourself in. But at the same time, like, especially now, to be honest with you, a lot of them dudes, man, like, if they didn't do that, they'd be out killing folks anyway, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's some people that are disposed to that type of situation. And there are some people who celebrate when that shit happens, because it meant they were going to be able to fight. So,
it's funny, because you used to hear people say, oh, that serial killer or that person, they should have joined the military. But then you think to yourself, yeah, but some of these people do those things because they're trying to control other people. So they're not going to put themselves in a situation where somebody else controls them.
Yeah, but when you got a weapon out on the field and shit, you know how many blue on blue incidents they've been? Blue on blue is like when somebody on your own team kills you. Yeah. It's a lot of that shit going too. Like, people don't understand. So it's not like that. It's not like, oh, he said this, now I got to listen to everything he has to say. Like, dude set people, like, you have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
There's lots of ways to get rid of you if you're in a high volume situation.
Oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. That's crazy. Jet, what's up?
Yeah.
That's scary, babe.
Yeah.
Moving right along. All right, you guys. Procol Harum is up next. Harum?
What?
Procol
Harum. Conquistador is the next song.
Conquistador. We'll be right back.
Pretty good. We were just talking about the GWAT, and now we're talking about conquistadors. In Vietnam, they fragged the officers. Yeah.
What's
grenade, all that shit. Like,
the officer?
Anything kinetic explosive. Yeah. Because those are the folks, like, leading you into the thing and telling you to go clear out this village while they sat back in the green zone and let you go out there and, like, your buddy died. You're holding your buddy's intestines on the way back to the green zone, and then here comes this guy going, hey, that's war. It's like, word, that's war. That's true. Let's go out. Because we told you, dumbass, that those people were, the VC was over there. So the next time we got on Convoy, some shit's going to happen to you. Grateful Nation, though. Like, I'm telling you, like, shit is crazy. It's like, might avoid war as much as we possibly can, I think is the situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody, anyway, all right. We'll be coming back. Conquistador on the way.
We'll be right back. Sori out.
Gone. Not really gone, but you're showing up.